Okay, let's dive into something really interesting today. We're focusing on a word that's recognized pretty much everywhere, Adam.
Absolutely. Yeah. Adam, it's a name that just echoes, doesn't it? Across cultures, history.
Right.
You find it in, major sacred texts, historical accounts, and, well, it's a super common personal name all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for most people, their immediate thought goes straight to the Abrahamic traditions, the name of the first human.
That makes total sense. I mean, it comes from that Semitic root meaning earth or man, so the connection's right there.
And this is what we're really digging into today. What's fascinating is how this word Adam is used, really used, in a completely different way in the Turkic world.
Yes. It's not just a memory or a name from a story. For Turkic peoples, it's a living part of their language, part of their identity even.
That's the mission here, isn't it? To unpack this pretty unique thing where Adam, or sometimes you hear Odam, is used in just normal daily speech
Yeah, day-to-day conversation.
to mean person or human being. And the sources we looked at really stress this. You just don't find that kind of functional use much elsewhere, if at all.
It seems pretty rare, yeah. So maybe let's paint that bigger picture first. The global view.
Good idea.
You see the name Adam
Yeah.
everywhere. I mean, the sources mention people like Adam Smith, the economist, or Adam Mickiewicz, the Polish poet.
Right, famous people. So the name itself spread.
Definitely. But in most places outside the Turkic languages, it's really become only a proper name, a first name.
It's lost that older connection to just meaning a human or someone from the earth.
Exactly. You wouldn't, say in English or German or Hindi, look at that Adam over there to mean look at that person, unless his name was actually Adam.
Okay, so that's the general picture.
Yeah.
But then you shift focus to the Turkic world.
And it's a whole different story. And Turkish, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Tatar, Turkmen, Azerbaijani, Adam is, well, it's the basic standard word for a human being.
Wow. Not like an old-fashioned word, but the main word.
No, the main word, the go-to word. And even where there's a slight sound shift, like you mentioned Udam in Uzbek and some Uyghur dialects, the meaning is exactly the same. It's completely functional.
So it's not just vocabulary sitting in a dictionary. It's alive in how people talk every day.
Precisely. And what really highlights this is the contrast the sources drew with other cultures. Cultures that also know the story of Adam very well.
Where?
Well, they gave examples. In Arabic, the general word for person is insan. In English, obviously, person or human. In Chinese, it's huren.
Okay, so those cultures have the story, maybe even the name is known, but it didn't become their word for a human.
No, it stayed a proper name, like John or Maria or Ahmed, just a name.
Which makes the Turkic usage really stand out.
It really does. And this is where it gets even deeper than just, a linguistic curiosity.
Okay.
Because being called an Adam in that Turkic context, it carries this weight, this significance that goes way beyond just being, like, biologically human.
Ah, okay, so the material we looked at was clear on this. Being an atom isn't just existing, it's tied up with being honorable, dignified, a sort of complete human being.
Exactly. It's loaded with moral and ethical meaning. There's this proverb that captures it so well.
Oh yeah, I remember reading that. It was,
Erkak bolish asen, odam bolish queen.
which translates to,
Being a man is easy, being a human is hard.
wow. Okay, and human there, autumn, doesn't just mean any old human walking down the street.
Not at all. It specifically means being a true human, an Adam in the sense of having good character, integrity, virtue. The difficulty isn't biology, it's living up to that standard.
The standard of being a proper atom, it's about morality, social value.
Yes. So think about what that means in conversation. If you call someone an Adam,
It's a huge compliment. Like you're acknowledging their worth, their character.
absolutely, it's a sign of real respect. And the flip side is just as powerful.
Saying someone is not an atom.
That's a deep cut. It's a serious criticism, implying they've failed morally, failed to live up to what it means to be a true human being in that cultural view.
And that specific moral meaning, tied directly to the word atom, that's what we don't see elsewhere, where atom is just a name.
Right, that's the unique part. It's not just a noun, it's a standard.
So it really makes you wonder, why? How did this happen? Why did the Turkic languages preserve this functional, morally charged meaning when it seems to have faded everywhere else?
Well, the sources didn't give a single definitive answer, but they offered some compelling possibilities.
Like what?
One angle is linguistic, the idea that early Islamic influence bringing the story of Adam so centrally.
Right, Adam is hugely important in Islam.
Exactly. That influence might have merged really effectively with, well, what were already very strong oral traditions among Turkic peoples. Maybe that combination cemented the word's everyday, meaningful use.
Okay, that makes sense. Like it resonated with something already there.
Possibly, and that leads to the cultural connection. Perhaps this usage stuck because it aligns so well with certain core values emphasized in many Turkic cultures.
Such as?
Things like a strong focus on personal virtue, on honor within the community, a deep sense of spiritual identity. Maybe Adam just became the perfect word, the perfect vessel to carry those concepts.
So putting it all together. It's like the story of the first human didn't just stay in the books for Turkic peoples.
No, it seems it got woven right into the fabric of their language. And it carries this profound sense of what it means to really be human or strive to be.
So to sort of wrap up what we found, these Turkic peoples, often sharing traits like, historical nomadic resilience, a love for poetic storytelling, a real reverence for honor.
Yeah, common threads there.
They haven't just kept the name Adam. They've kept the concept of Adam alive and kicking.
It feels like a living legacy, doesn't it? A kind of cultural treasure almost.
Definitely. And it reinforces that definition we talked about. Adam in this context isn't just any human. It's really about being a real, moral, upright person.
It's such a powerful illustration of how language isn't just, labels for things. It can be this dynamic container for a culture's deepest values.
Yeah, it's a really stark contrast to how often names or words just lose their original meanings over time, become just sounds.
But here, in the Turkic world, Adam has stayed vibrant. Not just as the first man, but as this everyday benchmark embedded right there in conversation, reminding people of what it means to be fully, morally human.
It's fascinating.
And it leaves us, and maybe you listening, with a really interesting thought to ponder, doesn't it?
Like his.
What does this really unique living link between that ancient name Adam and this Turkic standard of what makes a real human an Adam? What does that tell us about the power that language itself has? The power to carry and transmit the values that truly matter to a culture across generations.